Welcome back, fight fans. We're back again after quite the weekend. Wow. I'm still definitely in disbelief, to be honest. I really am. I've seen so much content of everybody reacting and everything. I don't normally go deep into the weeds on YouTube to to for all this content to watch, but I had to see what Joe Rogan was saying, that reaction. I watched him watching parts of the fight. I saw the press conference, of course. I saw some talking with Sean himself, some other people. I mean, I had to. This was just so crazy. I wanted to hear other people's thoughts about the entire thing too. Oh my goodness. Is the Wi-Fi already dead? Good Lord. This is, oh man. Anyway, we're going to go power through. So we'll get my reactions on that later as well. But that's at the end of the card. So as always, we'll just go through the card start to finish pretty quickly. Talk about the bets and everything. UFC 293. And then, of course, we will get into this week's Noche UFC. Cover curse and Drake betting curse, RIP. Exactly. What did I say? Roll the tape from last week. What did I say about the cover curse? What did I tell you? It happened. And who have we got fighting? Who have we got fighting this week? That's right. It's another person on the cover. It's Valentina Shevchenko. And trust me, I have a theory about that one as well. But of course, that's another thing we'll get into. But yeah, my God, half a milli from Drake on Adesanya. And I got to admit, if I had that kind of money lying around, that's exactly how I would be betting too. So I'm not gonna lie, that scared me a little bit. I was like, oh fuck. And then also right at the start of the broadcast, or not at the start of the broadcast, but just before the fight, at the Adesanya Strickland fight, we saw once again a random bettor bet the $200,000. It was almost the exact same total, actually, funny enough, as when Amanda Nunes was fighting Pena. I saw pretty much the exact same tweet from DraftKings saying, "Oh, somebody put down $200,000 to win." It was probably like, it was a little better back then because Nunes wasn't as huge of a favorite. It was like to win $60,000, and I was like, yeah, I could see that. I would probably do that too. My God. Could you imagine if it was the same guy as well that lost both times? $200,000 to Nunes and Adesanya right there. My God. Stop betting if that's you. Again, though, I would probably make the same mistake. So what am I talking about? Anyway, as you can imagine then, this was not a good week. This was not a good week for us. It was actually, it was close to the worst week. Wasn't the worst week I've ever had, but it was pretty close. Also, a week where I was trying a couple of new things with the bets just to kind of see, like, where should I be cutting the fat here? Which bets should I be cutting out? Which bets should I be favoring? Should I be going for KO, for the finishes, a specific finish? Should I just go for finish? Should I just go money line? I was really toying around with this card, so we got fucked. That is for sure. With the sniper pick loss, and then of course all the parlays lost because of that. Not just because of that, but also because Jenkins, that whole injury with Jenkins and everything, that fucked us. And then just all throughout the card, I mean, we were just getting hit left and right with some wild, wild results. So yeah, this was definitely the worst card I've had doing this show, and one of the worst ones I've had overall. I mean, wow. So we'll get through that. We will discuss that a little bit. I don't think we're gonna get into too much detail here because it's just sad. I'd rather just forget about this week at this point. Pretty bad. But I will say though, very entertaining to watch. Not great on the betting side, but I had a great time watching the fights. I really, really did. So I was having a good time, but yeah, the bets did not work out. And you making the cards better not become a card. Yeah, no. We're not even gonna put that out there. We're not even gonna give that that curse any kind of credit. We'll just skip past that. No, I refuse. I refuse to make any curses here. As it is, to be honest, I feel like sometimes I am a curse because I say, oh, there's no way that person's going to lose. And then out of nowhere, it's just like, what the fuck is happening? Anyway, so we'll get into that and we will start right now. The card opened with Jose, which I said his name wrong. I cannot believe I said his name wrong that many times last stream when I spent 13 years in French immersion and I still got his name wrong. It is Jose, not Josette. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I should have known that. Anyway, so Jose comes out there. Um, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, if I'm honest. But I did end up picking the Jose money line because on paper he looked better. The film I saw, he looked better too, but I definitely thought it was going to be just a tad bit closer. And then when they started fighting, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is not close." Easy didn't write notes on the fight. I mean, honestly, I was having so much fun watching these fights that I actually forgot to write notes on most of them. So this will truly be based on memory, which could get very bad very quick. So I'm just probably not going to say much about these fights at all. Again, I was having a great time, clearly, because yeah, I really did not write notes on most of these fights. This was one of them. I just remember Jose doing really well. Actually, I'll get you the result here. Again, let's go back to Tapology here. Okay, this was in the first round for rear naked choke right at the end of the round. But yeah, definitely not that close. And a pretty promising prospect. Great way to open the night for, I believe he was part of City Kickboxing as well, which is really cool to see. Yeah. So minus 175. That was the money line. I went with that. So that's 1.5. Yeah, better just skip through the losses quickly. I agree. 1.57. That's what we got back from it. But I also were in that fucking internet. uh I also put the over in that because Crosby, right? Yeah, Crosby seemed pretty tough on paper, as you say, wasn't necessarily getting the most finishes. So I thought, like I said, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer in terms of, you know, not blowing him out in the first round like that. So that didn't cash in. But like I said, I was kind of testing it out because I didn't balance them out like I normally do. Instead of going, like I said, a Jose finish, that's what I would normally be doing to balance that out. I didn't do that. So like I said, I just went straight up Jose money line. We ended up losing money in that matchup, even though I got one of the bets right. We were down 0.43 units already, even though I got one of the bets right. So you can kind of see where this is going. I mean, if I'm already not balancing the bets as I usually do, plus I lost the sniper pick, plus all the parlays, plus the odd one here and there, it was not good. This was not good. So yeah, like I said, this is not normally the system here. I just wanted to try, like, is this really the best way of doing it the way I was doing it before. Clearly, it was a much better way than I did it this time at the very oh, this fucking Wi-Fi. My God, it's already cutting out all over the place. So that's not great. Then we go into the next one. That was Young and Miranda. Absolutely fucking nailed this one. I mean, right away, I was a little surprised actually as to why Miranda was even the dog. I could have gotten him at a much better price. So that's another thing that really did not work out for me well this week. I saw the underdogs coming, but I did not get them at an underdog price. By the time I put my bets in, they weren't the underdog anymore. That actually happened, I think, with a couple of different ones here, and Miranda was one of them. When I first saw the bets, he was actually I think even during this broadcast last week, he was at plus money for sure. I remember even saying that. And by the time I got the bet, he was at minus 106. So I still got him and I got the pick. I got it right. But we didn't make money. It's all about the timing. I didn't get the bet in early enough, and maybe I should have gone with Miranda finish, bring it down a little lower below that, into the plus money. Didn't do that. Minus 106, he got it, but the over under, I went over 2.5. That didn't cash in. So again, technically, I mean, it was basically breaking even this time because it was 1.94. So 2 minus 1.94, 0.06 units down. Still technically a loss, but basically breaking even. But you see what I mean? Like, fuck. Like, just nothing worked out. Nothing worked out this past week. And that was another one. So already, I mean, I cashed in 2 out of the 4 bets. Normally that means we're making money. Not the right bets. Or actually, in the case of Miranda, didn't make the bet early enough. So already we're down half a unit already, and we got half the bets right. I mean, that's not good. Then we had Blood Diamond and Radkey. How did that one work out? Oh yeah, right. Okay, because this was another one I didn't put my notes in on. I did have notes for Miranda, but I mean, it was one of the fastest submissions in the division's history, so there's really not a whole lot to say. He literally just ran straight through him. It was not even close. And he's looked very good, which is exactly what I was expecting going into this, as I said last time. But yeah, Blood Diamond, Radkey. We know Blood Diamond is not a grappler. Obviously said that a lot last time. I mean, it's been said over and over since he started fighting in the UFC. Well, since he started fighting in the UFC. And I think this is the last we will see of Blood Diamond for at least a little bit. I mean, there aren't too many people with a 3-3 record that are this high up in the sport. That there's a reason for that. You are not going to be fighting in the UFC with a 3-3 record. So yeah, we're not going to be seeing him anytime soon. And I think that's right, to be honest. I just really think he was brought in too early. Really needed to improve that grappling. And we saw that again. Did he get subbed quickly? No, I thought he was. I really did. That's why I went with Radkey by sub. Radkey's really good and on the ground. I thought he was going to get the submission. Didn't end up getting it. Or at the very least, it was over the 2.5 because that was the other bet. Oh, it was a decision. Okay. Yes. And then of course, yes, he gives a fantastic post-fight interview. Amazing. You always got to love that. Where you make fun of not even make fun of just shit all over the crowd, essentially. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know what? It was actually kind of weird for on the mic. I mean, like there were a couple of guys that just went off the rails a little bit. Not gonna lie. I mean, Manel Kopp was going crazy, a little too crazy, honestly. Had to apologize there. Manel Kopp did. A little too far. And also, what's your problem with Kai Kara France? How could you hate Kai Kara France? I mean, come on. What a weird person to not like. Yeah. I liked Manel Kopp before this week too, but I'm not gonna lie, I kinda don't like him anymore after this week. That whole week of him just saying shit, getting a fight with Izzy, like, what are you doing? What are you doing fighting with Izzy in Australia? Like, the whole thing was like, bro, what is going on? Um, yeah, I mean, he's definitely gonna. Oh, for sure, he's definitely gonna get that Kai Car France fight, and I mean, he clearly deserves it. He is very talented, of course, and I don't even know why we're talking about this so early, obviously, but we'll get into this a little bit later. But I totally agree. He definitely deserves to get that Kai Car France matchup. I would love to see that. Love to see that. Very evenly matched. Anyway, so yeah, Radke. I thought he was going to be doing a little bit better. So maybe the ceiling on him is a little bit lower than we. Well, actually, I don't even know if we knew what his ceiling was. That was his debut, but yeah, I don't know. Looked good. Thought he was going to do a bit better. Blood Diamond, pretty much what I expected. I don't know. Don't know what else to say. So yeah, I took Radke's sub. That was one plus 120. Didn't get a finish or of any kind. Ended up going for the decision. So I actually did go with the over 2.5 to balance it out, and that is the my classic system working out just fine. So we did get our a little bit of money back here. It was at plus 150. So yeah, cashed in 2.5 units, and we're actually even at this point because, like I said, the first two we were half a unit down. We got half a unit up here. We're dead even here after three. So wasn't really too worried at this point. Um, and I actually thought I had a pretty good chance of cashing in the next one, but I didn't. So the next one, Haxed Quinones. I mean, we saw Quinones get finished really quick on The Ultimate Fighter. Hack Press doesn't really have very many finishes. So there was definitely a part of me that was thinking, okay, I'll do Hack Press finish and then balance it out with the over. The odds were a little bit weird because Nasrat was such a huge, huge favorite. So the way the odds were working out, I kind of just had to go for the under 2.5. The odds were really, really weird in this case. um, just based on the matchup. So I ended up going for the under 2.5. That's it. I had no other bets in the matchup, just the under 2.5. That was at plus 105. Didn't cash in. He was close, I guess, a couple of times. I don't think I ever really thought that there was going to be like, oh shit, he's close to getting a finish. But yeah. Didn't really have too many notes about that one either. I just said it was really close, which is what Nazrat does. Which is why I was also tempted. I don't know if I mentioned that last week, but I was tempted to actually take Quinones in this because Nazrat doesn't really impress me that much, especially on tape. Which is why I put him in the F position, so the last position in the parlays, because did not have a whole lot of confidence in him, and we saw why. I mean, it was very, very close. It was a very close fight. Even though he clearly won, like, bruh, like, you were in the top 15. You should run through somebody like this. Like, if you get finished on The Ultimate Fighter that quickly, you probably shouldn't be able to do that well against somebody who is in the top 15. Yeah, I did see. Oh, that's what I said. Yeah, he was overhyped a little bit. And now you can see I was definitely right about that. He is very much overhyped. I mean, they're still kind of hyping him up, but I don't know about you, but I think this performance kind of just proved what I was talking about. He's not really as good as people think he is. I don't know. Especially going forward, that's not somebody that should ever really be like a minus 4 or 500 favorite, unless they're. I don't even know who he would have to face for that to be the case, but yeah, probably somebody else like this, I guess. As for Quinones, I mean, I don't know. Nothing really impressive. It really wasn't anything impressive about that fight at all. That was one of the ones where you could probably have skipped watching that one. What do we got here? What do we got here? So yeah, that was the only bet. So that didn't cash in. -1 in that bet, that matchup. Moving on, we had Malarkey and Macdessie. This one I played in the classic blue system here, got the Malarkey decision on one side. That was at +110. On the other side, the under 2.5, that classic pairing works out. We got it. It was plus +0.1 there. Malarkey decision, that cashes in. So +110, that's 2.1 units. That means the under, of course, does cash in, and there we go. We're a 0.1 units up because of that. That is great. But of course, overall, we're down a unit because of that Hack-Prast Quinones matchup. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about that. What did I write here? It was pretty close. Malarkey won the earlier parts of the fight, and then Macdessie came back hard. Looked like he might have actually won. That's right. Oh yeah, it was close. That's right. Yeah, the last round, and then the second round. The second round obviously was where you could go either way with the judges, I guess. Um, yeah, I was a little worried, which again is why I had Malarkey lower. That's why I had Malarkey at E. See, there are reasons why I do have it in this order for sure. But clearly it didn't fucking matter this time because, yeah, my A and C pick lost. But I mean, the close fights, that is why I put them lower, because they can go either way, which it did. I mean, I actually thought Malarkey on some cards could have possibly lost. And then Hack-Prast had a close fight with somebody who got smoked on the Ultimate Fighter. So yeah, you can see why I had them at the bottom there. But again, didn't matter when your A and C pick lose. And we'll get into that next one, which is Jenkins, the C pick. I mean, what the fuck? That's brutal. That is so unlucky and so brutal. Jenkins, I mean, my God, he looked like he was just gonna walk through this matchup. Even was doing really well during the fight. I would say, pretty obviously winning, and then yeah. Out of nowhere, just posts, bam, arm out, fight over, completely fucked. I never actually heard after if it was a clean break or if it was just dislocated. Dana thinks it was dislocated. That's what he said in the press conference, and that he was fine. I don't know. Didn't hear anything after that. I doubt it because it didn't really look good. That's for sure. Yeah, that was a brutal one though, because he is such a promising prospect. He is so good. So to see somebody like that get injured like that and lose a fight like that, it's like, wow. Wow. And it really does remind me of Joe Pyfer. I don't know if you were watching the Contender series at that point, but I saw that happen and I was like, what the fuck? At the time, obviously, none of us really knew how good Joe Pyfer actually was. Um, but he knew. He knew how good he was. And then, yeah, it was, oh man, who did he lose that to, too? It was somebody that was absolute shit. So he was Joe Pyfer was going to walk through this guy. And then he did the same thing. His arm posted the arm down, and his actually did break. It was a clean break like that. Still can't, I know he still can't even put his arm, like stretch his arm straight out because of that injury. So I hope that Jenkins doesn't have it as bad, because the hell that Joe Pyfer went through, I don't want Jenkins to go through anything like that. I want to see Jenkins at full capacity forever. I don't want to see him not able to bend his arm properly because of that shit. That's terrible. Yeah, so I mean, I've seen how this injury can go before. I hope it's not going to go that bad. And again, we saw how Joe Pyfer is after that. I mean, it's super unlucky. And I think Jenkins is basically the same. I mean, he's just as talented. I mean, Joe Pyfer is pretty talented now, we know, but still, Jenkins, very talented. Stupid way to lose. Terrible. Terrible. And that obviously completely fucked us in the in the bets as well, as you would imagine. I went for Jenkins KO. That was at plus 250, which is a little shocking to me that it was that high. Um, and I didn't balance it out again because of the odds. I was like, the odds really are not, they didn't look good because I would have to have gone with the over. There was a reason why I didn't do Jenkins' decision and then bet the under. I forget what that was. But yeah, there was some reasoning behind that. And again, cutting the bets out didn't work out for us. I mean, I'm trying to lower the overhead by cutting some bets out here and there, but I'm getting screwed left and right with that strategy. I don't think I've won. Oh, never mind. I did win one of them because it's later in this card. I was going to say, I don't think I've won a matchup where I only made a single bet, but I did. It was later in this card. I got one of them. But 1 for 3 on this card is not ideal. So that was the second straight up loss. Moving on, Ulberg, Dawoon Jung. The pick was pretty obvious here. I mean, Ulberg KO on the one side, and I had under 1.5 on the other side. Fuck. Like, this was another one. I mean, this was actually where the results were just like, okay, well, that's pretty unlucky. Where are we here? I'm going on Tapology here. Yeah. Gets the second round sub. Just over halfway through the second. I mean, could you be more unlucky? Really? I mean, really? Oh, it was round 3. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was with 10 seconds left. Oh, that's right. It was that one. Oh, I remember now. Okay, yeah. So this is where a little bit weird that they actually did call this a submission win when the bell did go, because he never actually let up the choke, because we've seen that happen in other fights and they never call it. They never call that a finish. They always just say, no, it's the next round. Like, that wasn't a finish. It's the next round. We're done. And in this case, it would have just been, oh, this is the end of the fight. That's done. It's a decision. I've never actually seen them go back and say, yes, that was a tap. We're reversing the decision to go for a submission. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. So that was interesting to see that. And like I said, it was also weird because it was like, well, Ulberg never actually stopped choking him. He never let up. So does the tap really count when the guy doesn't stop? You know what I mean? Like, how can you call that a finish if it, I guess because he tapped, but again, the bell did end up ringing in the end, and he didn't get choked out, and he didn't stop choking him. So that is kind of a weird place to be in, because how can you call that if, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Am I crazy? Like, how is it a submission finish if he didn't actually finish him and the bell rang and he didn't stop choking him? So it's not like he thought he tapped, right? It's a lot of weird things. That's why I was kind of like, I don't know. I would really call that a decision more than anything else. But anyway, but yeah, super unlucky that he went for a sub when he very clearly could have gotten a TKO win a couple of times there. Yeah, it's just one of those times where it's like, fuck, the guy just went for the other kind of finish. I really, nothing I could have done about that. UFC is just doing whatever looks better on paper. Yeah. I mean, definitely. They do that quite a bit. This was obviously up to the refs, though, but which technically has nothing to do with the UFC, remember. But yeah. Yeah, it was a little weird. I don't know. That one was a little weirder. But I mean, again, he was going to win the decision anyway, so, and that's true too, by the way. I mean, like, what would have happened if Dawoon Jung actually had one on the scorecards? Like, if we found out after that Dawoon Jung was winning 29-28 on the cards, and then you give the win to Ulberg because of that, that would be Like, people would be losing their shit if that was the case. So, I think they got a little bit lucky with how that fight was actually going. But, when things like that happen, you do kinda wonder, like, what would have happened if he was actually losing the fight and that happened? Bit dicey, bit dicey. You gotta think about those things before they happen, because when they do happen, then everybody loses their minds on the internet. So, yeah, deal with those problems while you can. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, he looked great. That aside, Oberg looked pretty good. Still think he's gonna be pretty easily in the top 15 and competing there for sure. I mean, really, in terms of light heavyweights, there's not we talked about this last week. There's really not a whole lot going on. So the fact that he ended up, well, getting another finish, um, and still winning convincingly, I mean, he's definitely a guy that's going to be in that top 15 pretty soon and competing there. Then we were in the main card, and I mentioned it to you because this was obviously off the air. I was worried. I was worried after those weigh-ins about this next one. Because I said last time, I was like, I think Turkalj has a very good chance of winning this fight. And I stood by that until I saw the weigh-ins and the weigh-in show. And the way that Tyson Pedro was talking, I was very worried. I was really worried about Turkalj and the bets at that point. I had already made my picks though, and I mean, I could have changed them, I guess, and I guess I should have. But yeah, I just should have, I guess, because I even said that. I said that to you. I'm a little worried about Turkalj here because Tyson Pedro. I mean, I don't know if you ended up seeing what I was talking about. Probably not. But he was talking about how this was the darkest place he had ever been in fight camps, and the entire week he was talking about how much he hated Turkalj and how he was going to go out there and brutally finish him. And he was just in that dark place where he's like, there's nothing, there's no finishes. I'm not taking it easy. This is, I'm going hard for this one. So when he said that, I was like, yikes. I'm a little worried about Turkalj now. Clearly, that worry that worry was justified because he did end up getting that brutal finish right in the first round. So yeah, I definitely should have changed it. My gut feeling there was correct. I should have changed it. Yeah, and I mean, I've had those feelings before and changed it and didn't work out, but yeah, this was kind of one of those ones I probably should have changed, especially in Australia. Love the celebration too. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And the other thing also that made me think, "Oh, I should probably switch it," is I was pretty high on Tyson Pedro before his last fight as well. I was saying, "Oh shit, this guy's really good." And then he had that last fight, which he talked about being so bad. I was like, "Wow, is Tyson Pedro just bad? Like, have we just been feeding him cans this entire time?" Which they kind of were. I mean, Harry Hunsucker is as much of a can as you can get. Um, so I mean, people like that, I mean, maybe we're just gifting him wins and he's not actually that good. That's why I was picking Turkalj into going into this. But yeah, when he said, "Oh, I had a really bad flu in the last fight and I just felt like garbage in the last fight. I couldn't really do much." Then I was kind of like, "Oh, so you're extremely motivated this week. You hate the other person, and you had a flu in the last fight, which is why you looked so bad." Everything was kind of coming together at that point where it was like, yeah, I should switch the bet. Ah, wish I would have. Wish I would have. I did not. I ended up keeping Turkalj. Fucking idiot. Should have changed it. Yeah, kept Turkalj minus 110. Brutal. Got absolutely smoked. Kept the over 2.5 because Turkalj was so durable in his other fights. He was not durable this time. He got dismantled immediately. Over 2.5. Obviously did not cash in. First round finish. That was a straight up loss for me. And if you were keeping track and paying attention, that is 3 matchups in a row where I got zero. Zero. Nothing for Jenkins, nothing for the Yelberg fight, nothing for a Turkali fight. Just straight up 5 units down because of that. So yeah, this is where obviously it just the bets just went off a cliff. Yeah, unlucky card regardless, 100%. I mean, I was getting just steamrolled left and right. Yeah, brutal. And especially considering, like I said, I saw it coming too. I should have changed it to Tyson Pedro there. Yeah, so brutal way to open the card. Then we go into Justin Tafa, Austin Lane. Obviously, I nailed this one though. I mean, how could you not see this one coming? All I did this was the one where I made one bet in the matchup and it cashed in perfectly. This was Justin Tafa in the first round. That's what I did because Tafa KO was actually at I think it was still at negative money. I mean, it was still like minus 110. It was minus something, I think, from what I remember when I was looking at it. So really the only juicy betting line that I saw was Tafa and 1. And I mean, based on what I saw in that 40-second fight that they had the first time, I was like, oh, he's going to get fucking smoked. He's going to get absolutely annihilated. And he was. So yeah, I don't know why people were even questioning that was going to be a thing. I don't think a lot of people were, but I did see a little bit of it, especially on Tapology. I mean, I saw a couple of things. I was like, the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I don't mind Tafa. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Why? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you dislike him. I like both of them, Junior Tafa and Justin Tafa. They're both pretty cool dudes. They just remind me of Tuivasa. I mean, they're all pretty similar, except for Tuivasa is definitely more. I mean, you could tell he's more of a party vibe, obviously. But yeah, the Toff brothers are fairly similar. Maybe they just look a bit more rough, and that's where the dislike comes in. But yeah, they're pretty chill dudes. Then we had, oh yeah, so that was 2.2 units. So 1.2 units up. Obviously nailed that one. Great. I mean, but that's who they are. I mean, the Tafa brothers, yes, they play the same role. That's who they are. They're guys that just hit hard. I mean, those are heavyweights. That's just kind of what you see at heavyweights. There are people like that. I mean, Derek Lewis is like that. If you don't like Derek Lewis, well, I mean, if you don't like Derek Lewis, you're an idiot. But but you know what I mean? Like, he is the same person every time, though. Like, you're never going to see Derek Lewis, the grappler, the submission guy. Like, what? No, like, it's Derek Lewis, the guy that hits hard. And it's the same with the Tafa brothers. They hit hard. That's what they do. They don't do anything else. You're never going to see anything else. So yeah, if you don't like it, it's never going to switch. So yeah, I totally see it though. And there are a lot of people that do that too. I mean, that's why people hated Khabib for so long. And all the Dagestani guys that wrestle like that, they do the same shit every goddamn time. That's why everybody hates watching them most of the time anyway. Depending on the person now. I mean, it's getting a little more interesting with some of them now, like Usman Nurmagomedov. That's a different one. I mean, he's got some striking too. And Islam has his striking too. But yeah, the guys with the pure grappling, fuck. I mean, people used to hate Khabib because of that. Hate him. They used to cheer against him constantly. I mean, actually, they always did. Even I think that really only switched after the Conor fight, from what I remember. Yeah, Islam has a personality at least. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's definitely a little bit funnier, for sure. Actually, I think actually Khabib gained his personality after the Conor fight, or even actually after he retired, because I think he's more likable now than ever. 'Cause I was a Conor stan, obviously, so obviously I hated Khabib. But after the Khabib fight, honestly, I was like, "You know what? I like it." Or after the Conor fight, Conor Khabib, I actually started to like him. I started to like Khabib a little bit more. Maybe it was because I saw him fight Conor, in the cage after that whole fiasco. I thought, "You know what? Anybody who jumps out of the cage to fight Dylan Dennis, I like you." I like that. I like that fire inside that you can jump out of a cage and attack people in public. I love that. So maybe that's why I liked him after that. I don't know. But yeah, it did turn for me. Not a huge Islam guy though, but I'll admit he does have more personality. And I feel like if he stopped beating the shit out of people I like, I'd probably like him. Because I love Oliveira. So the fact that he won like that was kind of like, fuck you. Fuck you. I liked him, but oh fuck, the goat conversation of Islam. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, and even Khabib. I don't agree, honestly. I mean, maybe Khabib at lightweight, like maybe. I don't know though, because he was getting cracked by some guys, and there was even one fight where a lot of people argue that he lost. I didn't watch it, so I can't really input on that. But yeah, I don't know. That's so tough though, because at lightweight, they're so good that it's kind of like, I mean, he did go out undefeated, you know what I mean? But yeah. But yeah, them saying that Islam is better, I don't know. I don't know how you could say he's better than, I don't know. I don't know how you could have that conversation either. I don't know. Like again, yeah, the conversations they have with Habib and Islam, it does drive me a little bit insane. But I mean, those are just their fans. They've always been like that. They always will be like that. Anyway, moving on. Manel Cop and Dos Santos. This is where I was going to talk about earlier. My God, I was close to cashing in a huge one here. What I ended up doing actually was, because I was like, there's no way that Cop is getting an early finish because people were really underestimating Dos Santos. And I said this last week too, I'm pretty sure. I said how durable this guy was and how good this guy actually should be, which is why I was like, I don't think Cop is going to lose, but I do think people are going to be surprised at how good this guy actually is. And that's exactly what happened, because even Cop himself was a little surprised with how durable and how good this guy was. And he did. He looked great. Told you. Told you he was good. Which is exactly why in this bet, I went with the over 2.5. So that did cash in. Genius. Loved it. But I was so close to cashing this one in. I went Cop in round 2. That is how specific I got with this, because I knew there's no way in hell he's getting the first round finish. That's not going to happen. I don't want to go KO or sub because Cop can do either one of those. So I didn't want to do that. So I thought Cop second round. That's the way to go. And from what I remember, because I don't have my notes here, but from what I remember, I do distinctly remember him getting very close to a finish in the second round. And I was like, oh my God, this could save my card. This could save the card. Because Cop in round 2 was plus 400. Plus 400. Yeah, knockdown. Exactly. Yeah. So it was plus 400. So I was like, oh man, this is where I save the card with one of these bets. Cash in the plus 400. Sadly, that did not happen, but I still got money in the matchup because I knew how tough he was going to be. Went the over. That was plus 162. That tells you how little faith they had in this guy. Plus 162, sorry. And, actually, no. Yeah, 162. And that cashes in. So 2.62 units. We got it. We got 0.6 units up. Won the matchup. Beautiful. That's how it's done. And then the rest of the card was just, as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to close my laptop. None of these are getting cashed in. This is brutal. Because then it was Tuivasa and Volkov. I didn't change my picks at all for this. I still thought Tuivasa had a very good chance. And listen, he was doing pretty well. doing really well. It was really close, but yeah, as it was going on, you could kind of tell what was happening. It was like, okay, I think Tuivasa's starting to not necessarily get tired, but he's not really landing as much anymore. You could kind of tell, okay, Volkov is starting to kind of run away with this after a while. So I was like, oh, this is bad. So what I did was Tuivasa KO. That was shockingly at plus 250. So that could have actually made a huge difference in the card too. Doesn't cash in. Went under 1.5. Fuck me, that didn't cash in. That was at minus 120. That does not cash in. When did he get the finish? Let's see here. Oh man. Oh yeah, here it is. Round 2, 4.5 minutes in. So 2 minutes late. If it happens 2-3 minutes earlier, we cash in the under. But nope, missed it by a couple minutes. Absolutely fucking brutal. Ty deserves, yeah, 100%. He definitely does. I still think people are underestimating him a little bit because, I mean, look at who he's lost to. I mean, he lost to Cyril Gahn. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he almost knocked Cyril Gahn out. Let's remember that too. And who is the? Oh yeah, Pavlovich. I mean, those two losses are not a big deal. Like that's okay. There's nothing wrong with losing like that, especially the Gahn one where he actually could have won. If he would have followed up on that knockdown, he actually probably would have won that, no joke, because Gahn literally straight up said, "I had no idea where I was. I woke up on the canvas and then just stood up." Essentially, that's what he said. So yeah, he had a chance there. This one, I mean, he looked good. He really did look good, but Volkov is better than people think. I mean, just because he's 7 feet tall, I mean, he's talented. He's very talented. But yeah, you're right. Yes, yeah. It's not even that they're bad losses. I totally agree. Yeah, it's just that he needs momentum. 100% totally agree. Um, I don't know who he would be fighting next. I'm imagining probably somebody. I'm trying to think of who's. I mean, heavyweight rankings are hard to remember because nobody stands out as really being ranked outside of like the top 5. Maybe somebody like Rosenstrike. I could see them doing that because they both need it. Rosenstrike just lost against Blades, I think it was. Somebody like that. I think. Who was it? He just lost anyway. So maybe Rosenstrike. I could see them doing that. I don't know. Other than that, I mean, you're kind of going deep into it, right? Like you'd have to go pretty low. Somebody lower than Derek Lewis, even. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know who's. I just can't remember off the top of my head who's in the heavyweight rankings, to be honest. None of them are really that hugely memorable. They could maybe do Alexander Romanov, because then Ty could try and overcome the wrestling of Romanov, and they can see if Romanov can actually bang with somebody like that. I don't think he can. I think he would get fucked up, to be honest. I think Tuivasa wins that. But I could see that being an interesting conversation, though, because Romanov has some crazy wrestling. So Tuivasa might have some problems with that. I could see them doing something like that. I'd like to see that. Romanov, Tuivasa. What do you think? But yeah, either way, neither one of those bets cashes in. That is another straight up L for us here. And then, I mean, could we have taken a bigger L in the main event? For fuck's sake. Yeah, I mean, I lost every single bet in the co-main and main event. Got absolutely destroyed. And that includes the prop bets too, by the way, for the main event too. Wow. Yeah. So I ended up going Adesanya KO. We talked about this last time. I mean, we saw, yeah, Blades fight loser. Who's fighting Blades anyway? I can't remember now. But yeah, you're right. Blades is fighting. Oh, Blades fight lose. Oh, what? What? Yeah, Blades fight loser goes for Volkov. Yeah, who's Blades fighting? Because he is fighting soon, right? That's what you're talking about. Unless that's just a typo. Either way, yes, I do agree. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this last time because of what Strickland had with Pineda. I mean, it's really tough because I still am confused. I really am, and I was thinking the same thing as I mean as everybody was thinking, and Ariel talked about it too, because I watched some of the oh shit yeah Almeida. Oh, man. Yeah, it would well, Almeida's obviously winning that. So, yeah, Blades Volkov, yeah, I'd like to see that. And I think that actually is probably what happens because, I mean, I think we kind of all realize what's gonna be happening, like, at the top. At the top, it's all Aspinall, Pavlovich, and then whatever happens with Jones. Nobody like, it doesn't fucking matter what anybody else does, except for Cyril Gahn. Cyril Gahn's kinda hovering in there too, but it's really just those 4 guys: Jones, Aspinall, Pavlovich, and who did I just say? Gahn, Pavlovich, Jones, Aspinall. Yeah, 4. It's just those 4 guys. Blades isn't getting anywhere close to a title, neither is Volkov. So I think, yeah, you gotta do Blades, Volkov, and I mean, Almeida's probably gonna get thrown in there. Probably, yeah, no joke, he probably actually is gonna be thrown in there against either Aspinall or Gahn. I could see that, though. People are not giving Sean enough credit. Just no, no, yeah, no. I am not on that side of it. I will say I truly am not on the side that Adesanya had an off night. I really don't see it that way. um, yeah, but you can't deny the fact that you're definitely. I'm definitely still. I can't deny the fact that I'm still shocked and blown away. But I really do I was thinking pretty similarly to what Ariel was saying, like, it's just I'm just blown away. That's what he said, I am too, I'm blown away. I am absolutely fucking blown away by that. That he literally won and they said it on the broadcast too, that he literally won throwing a jab and a right, jab and a straight, jab, straight, jab, straight. That's it. Didn't really throw kicks, didn't throw any takedowns, didn't no elbows. It was just straight up boxing. He literally straight up just boxed him for 5 rounds straight and somehow won. That is the last thing I could have seen coming, especially since I straight up said that last week. I was like, I don't know how Sean wins this because he sure as shit is not going to win a 5-round decision. That's what I said. And I still can't believe he won that way. He said it too. Actually, Ariel said it too there. It was like, I could have even seen him knocking him out. Like, if he would have gotten the knockout in the first round, I would have been like, fuck, that was crazy. But even that would not have been as shocking as what happened, which is he literally just jabbed him to death. That is what happened. That is straight up what happened. He just jabbed the shit out of him. Blown away. Absolutely fucking blown away. But yeah, and I will get into the style part of it because I mean, I'm not saying I should have seen it coming. I'm definitely not saying that because I'm still surprised that it happened. But I will say it is less surprising when you look back at it and actually look at the style because I was thinking myself, I was like, I think this easily could go to a decision, and I think it could be closer than people think because Strickland is so active. He pressures constantly. He's always done that. We know is what Adesanya struggles with. That he struggles with the activity part of it. Which is why he was so close to losing to Cannonier. I mean, he wasn't really close to losing Cannonier, but he was close to losing to Whitaker because of activity. I thought Whitaker won the last fight by split decision, or, like 3 rounds to 2 because Whitaker was being more active. So Strickland being so active and aggressive, it's not as surprising when you look back on it just because of that alone. That being said, I really thought that aggression of him walking forward constantly, that Adesanya would get a KO and he would hit him pretty hard multiple times. I that's what I thought was going to happen. And I still am a little surprised that did not happen. And I think that is what people were getting at when he had an off night. I don't even think it was an off night thing though. I still don't even think that. I just think that he was so I really do think it was a mental thing. I really do. And if you watch the press conference, I don't know if you did, Adesanya just left. I mean, he just straight up said like, I'm just gonna I'm just taking the rest of the night to party with the rest of the team, and we'll have now I'm forgetting his name. Oh my god. Eugene Behrman. So then he had Eugene talk for him at the press conference. Yeah, exactly. Dana said they didn't even talk. Yeah, he didn't. He left. Izzy left as soon as that happened. Never looked back. And I'll give you my psychological perspective on it because I honestly think I'm pretty accurate in this. And it's because I have my psych degree and because there's a lot of similar things between me and Izzy too. So I kind of understand what he's thinking here. He really mentally got fucked up by this. I really do think so. Not just the loss, but the entire week. I honestly think he was so thrown off, I think, by everything this week. Because I've never seen Izzy like any of this. He was so thrown off by all of it. I think he was like, what the fuck is going on? Because like the whole press conference thing, and then like he really was so upset about that dog thing. That Strickland talking about Izzy touching his dog, that whole thing. He was so upset about that to the point where he brought it up in the octagon after he lost. If you go back and look, and Sean actually mentions it too in the press conference. He literally says, that dog thing really bugged me. And Sean was like, are we really talking about this here now? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? But that's how badly it fucked him up, where he was thinking about it after he lost. He brought it up. He was like, that really bugged me, to have that in your head the entire time. And then, like the whole, I mean, like, I don't know. It was just over and over. Oh yeah. And then basically saying Sean is a bully. And I mean, he is. Sean is a bully. He straight up is. So then he's kind of been, being brought back into being basically bullied all over again. I mean, he was bullied as a kid. Honestly, I think he was getting bullied. I think Sean straight up just bullied him to win the title. I think that's quite literally what happened. He fucked him up at the conference to the point where he couldn't even. I think even the press conference, it wasn't even just what Sean was doing. It was the fact that the crowd was on Sean's side and they were cheering for Sean the whole time as a bully, saying the worst shit, bugging Izzy so much. And it was just over and over. And like they were on Sean's side. So I really think that this entire scenario of it just really fucked with Izzy because he's always on the other side of it. He's always like, this is the guy, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, I think it really fucked with him. And then, of course, he gets hit in the first round like that. Never seen Sean really knock anybody down like that, clean like that. Like, it was like, oh shit, like he actually almost got a KO. So I don't think Izzy saw that one coming. And then after that, he was like, oh shit, like he can actually hurt me. And I don't think he ever recovered from that. I honestly think he was like, "Fuck, he's getting me now too." And then just pressure, pressure, pressure the whole fight, pressure, 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 not letting him breathe over and over. Couldn't land anything good. So it was like, man, like Izzy literally did not get a win this entire week. He lost every single piece of this week. And not just the press conference. Now I'm thinking about it too. The weigh ins, the fact that Sean didn't look at him, Sean looked away. That bugged Izzy so much that he brought it up. I don't know how many fucking times he brought that up where he was like, it was a bit weird. I don't think Sean wanted to look at me, blah, 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 blah. Like all of this shit in his head. He kept bringing it up over and over again throughout the entire week. Like, I don't know if I was the only one that noticed this, but it was like over and over. He kept bringing up all of these different things that was bugging him. And normally when he does that, it ends up being better for him. But in this case, it was like every time something happened, it negatively affected Izzy, like to the point where it was noticeable. So it was like, I don't know, it just seemed like he got psychologically bullied into losing this fight. And then in the fight itself, again, you could see it. He was just getting bullied. Izzy did not get a chance to get anything going. And even in the fifth round, and the fifth round is what fully convinced me of this kind of theory is that, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you're raising good points for sure. I'll put that up here too. I mean, you're right for sure. I'm not saying that any of this is too surprising. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. You're right. Because he does it to other people, not to the same extent. He doesn't go negative bullying. Like he's just like, I didn't like that, and like blah 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 blah. Oh, you sure? He probably would have done a dog. That's hilarious. I'm gonna put that up. He probably would have done a dog celebration against Sean, 100%. But anyway, continuing on with the theory here too, is it's like what really solidified this for me was in the fifth round. Because Izzy knew obviously losing, he needed a finish. He knew that, and you could tell that he knew that, but he still couldn't do it. He still could not go. He could not walk into it and go he couldn't do it. And Sean was straight up yelling in his fucking face. He was literally yelling at him, fucking, like hit me, like shit like that, like over and over again for the last minute and a half. I mean, it was like, I was actually like, normally when Sean does stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I still was kind of doing that. But this time it was like, oh shit. Like, I think Izzy's actually, I think he's actually getting a little bit fucked up by this. Like, I actually think he's mentally getting a little bit fucked up by this, that he is actually getting dominated like this and having Sean Strickland yell in his face after basically dominating him for 4 out of 5 rounds. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah. And then again, what solidified, again, it's just all, I'm trying to bring this all together for you to see what I'm seeing here psychologically. But again, Izzy before, because we've seen Izzy lose twice. Think about this. We've seen Izzy lose twice. This is the only one where he left the press conference and hasn't even talked about it. He posted once since then, and it was literally just saying that was shitty. Nothing else though. The other times he did. The other times he was like, get me the rematch, I'm gonna knock Padilla out, I'm gonna win this time, blah 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 blah. He was always like that. And even with Jan, he was like, I tried my best. Jan was too heavy. It didn't, actually, I don't think he even blamed the weight, but it was just like, that sucked. You lose some. But Jan, he was still there at the press conference, still talking. Everything was good. It didn't really bug him much because you could kind of tell it was like, okay, Jan out grappled me. I wasn't going to be able to win that. Okay. But this, it was like he didn't even want to be there. Like he didn't want to even be anywhere near this situation at all. He was like, "Get me the fuck out of here and let's never talk this about about this again." That was kind of the attitude that he was kind of giving about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this really, really fucked with him quite a bit. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that was it, really. I don't know if it was the pressure, really, of anything, because he doesn't really get affected by that kind of stuff. And yeah, about the rematch, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you, and it seems like 99% of the world is with us on that one, where I don't think he deserves. How could you argue that he deserves a rematch? I truly don't. Like, I mean, other than the obvious argument that it's like, "Oh, it's Adesanya, he's earned it, blah, 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 blah." But did he earn it? Like, he won 1 out of 5 rounds. I mean, didn't look good. It did not look good. I mean, it didn't really look like he had anything at all. Oh, by the way, again, you didn't I don't think you watched the press conference, I think, from what you're saying. I'll tell you too what Eugene said too, because Eugene, his coach, Izzy's coach, he talked a little bit about too what he thought went wrong as well. And this is also again another reason why I do think it's mostly mental and it wasn't anything physical or anything like that. I really do think it was just straight up the bullying part of it. I really do think he got bullied out of that belt. Because Eugene said over and over again, there was just a disconnect between the corner and Izzy. So between the coaches and Izzy. Izzy wasn't like they knew what he had to do and they were telling him to do it and he wasn't doing it. So it was like they knew what they were supposed to do and Izzy knew what he was supposed to do and there was that communication going. They were yelling it to him and they couldn't get it going. Also, I mean, he did say that there were a couple of rounds where they just weren't really sure how to deal with what was happening with Strickland. They didn't know how to deal with that pressure. They didn't have an answer for it. But in that fourth and fifth round, he specifically did talk about that fifth round again. And it's what we were looking at too, is it's like, you need to finish. Izzy knew he needed to finish. The corners are yelling at him, you got to go in there. You got to go in there. It doesn't matter if he hits you, like, especially since we know Strickland isn't known for his power. You got to go in there. I mean, the batshit craziest part about this whole thing, and I think it's also why, again, this is why it really does seem more psychological than anything. Because if you go in the pocket, he went in the pocket with Pereira, the heaviest puncher in the division, and possibly one of the heaviest hitters at light heavyweight. If you can trade with with Pereira, you can trade with anybody. So, what does that tell you? That he mentally could not get over to get in there in the pocket with Sean Strickland. And they admitted that. Like Eugene straight up said he could not overcome that mental hurdle to get in close with Sean. That's what he said. He said it was they were telling him to do that, and obviously that was the obvious thing to do, but he couldn't do it. Yeah, exactly, especially after Alex knocked him out so easily. That's why I know for a fact that has to be psychological because all of us know, and Sean knows himself, which is why he was so surprised too. Sean does not have a lot of power and he does not have a great chin. He has said both of those things over and over, and we've seen it over and over. That's how I know this has to be psychological. It has to be because there is no other reason why he couldn't go in there when he's done that with everybody. He's been there with Whitaker. He's traded with Whitaker in the pocket. He's traded with Pereira in the pocket. He's been knocked down by Gastelum in the pocket. You know what I mean? Like, he's gone in the pocket with every single person, but the one person he could not do that with, Sean Strickland. Psychology. There you go. That's sports psych right there. Yeah. So that is my theory, and I'm standing by that forever because, and which is why, again, I don't think it was an off night. I I don't. I think that. Yeah, I don't know how Sean managed to do it just by being himself. I guess. Just I don't even know. Yeah, and now also adds to the story of Alex, and that will also be put in front of Izzy too. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I even saw the memes right after. They were like, "Oh wow, like Padilla doesn't even have to be in the same division to fuck with Izzy." It's true. It's true. You can't deny that anymore. That's for goddamn sure. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, as for what's next, and you saying Costa Hamzat, I think that's clearly next. Clearly the obvious next fight for Sean Strickland. There's no fucking way. I mean, the UFC, I mean, you can talk about them being a little bit like, oh fuck, like the champion, our champion who we put on the cover, who we ride with, ride or die, like we talk about him constantly. He lost, like that's pretty bad, for the UFC. But now look what happens though. Now you've got Paulo Costa, Khamzat Chimaev fighting next pay-per-view. Base That is a guaranteed number one spot. There is no way in hell they're turning that down. You've got two of the most marketable people in the UFC lined up to fight Sean Strickland, basically getting a guaranteed belt out of it. Because I mean, I don't give a fuck what happened this Saturday. You cannot. There is no universe, and I am fully aware that I basically said this about Adesanya and Strickland, but there is dead ass no fucking universe where Paulo Costa or Khamzat Chimaev loses to Sean Strickland. I'm sorry, that is not happening. Chimaev would run in there, fucking boom, straight through him, just double leg, bam, choked out, fucking 45 seconds in. Chimaev's the new champ. I Either that or Chimaev is like, fuck that. I'm not even gonna grapple him. I'm just gonna fuck him up on the feet because I know he's not gonna knock me out. That's something Chimaev would do. Either way, Chimaev not losing that fight. Costa, same shit. He's gonna walk straight through him too. He's massive. You're telling me that Paulo Costa can't knock out Sean Strickland? I mean, he took Marvin Vittori's punches right on the goddamn chin. He's got a chin of granite. He can take what Strickland has too. Either guy who wins that, and I'm still pretty sure it's going to be Chimaev, but either way that turns out, guaranteed title shot. And to me, guaranteed title in my mind. That's how I think that's going down. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I actually like what Ariel said. I actually think it might have been New York Rick that said this actually, but they were saying I'd like Izzy to stay out for a little bit. And I think that's exactly what he needs. I really do. No matter what Izzy says about staying active, and I totally understand that too, where he likes to be active. I just think that when you get psychologically fucked up and bullied to that extent where you can't even as one of the best kickboxers in the history of the world do not have the confidence to go in the pocket with with a boxer, I guess, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't have the confidence in the 5th round to do that, I think maybe you should just take a step back, truly. I really do think he should just take a beat. Andrikas, fuck, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, to be honest, I actually think that would be a great fight for Izzy. Why not do that? You know? I mean, Dricus is still resting. give Izzy some time back. Why not do that fight? I mean, we were gonna do it anyway. I know DDP still said he was talking about doing that fight anyway, regardless of if the belt was there or not. I think he said that anyway. Oh, actually, no, maybe he said the opposite, that he wanted the belt, whoever had it. I can't remember what he said. But he did. Oh, that's right. Actually, no, I think I saw his post this weekend. I think he was talking about he wants to get the belt and then he will fight Adesanya for his first title defense, which I could also, if I'm being honest, I could see that happening too. But I just don't think that there's any way in hell that the UFC is turning down the opportunity for two of the most marketable people they've ever had in in Chimaev and Paulo Costa. I don't think they're gonna turn them away from a title fight. I think they're throwing them in it no matter what. Yeah, but yeah, Dricus, man, he probably is. You're probably right. That is actually probably who he's fighting next. Because who else is there? I mean, Vittori. Because where's Vittori in all this? I guess he's got to fight down because he lost. So yeah, Cannonier Dricus makes sense. Izzy waiting out for a bit. I think that's the best. And then winner Khamzat and Costa goes Strickland. Yeah. And and I also like what he said. And I actually think this is, I mean, really think about this. How much better of a main event for UFC 300 could you possibly get now other than Strickland and Chimaev? Think about how fucking crazy that would be. The the lead up alone, the fight itself, the stakes of it, everything alone. I actually really do think that that would be a fantastic headline for UFC 300. And imagine again what happens at the end of that. Chimaev gets his belt, crown. Finally, he gets the belt and his title shot at UFC 300. How much better could you finally script that for Chimaev getting his title shot that we've been waiting for like 2 years now? I mean, he really should have had the title shot even last year, to be honest. I mean, really, like he's so good. So yeah, to finally get that at UFC 300, that's what I want to see. Strickland, Chimaev, UFC 300. Doesn't even have to be the main event now that I'm thinking about it. Could be the co-main. Why not? I mean, Strickland, Chimaev co-main. We're talking then McGregor Chandler, UFC 300. Or what I've been seeing now, McGregor Volkanovski. McGregor Volkanovski, UFC 300. How about that? How about them apples? Islam versus Volkanovski 2 at UFC 300. That might be what they're trying to do. I could see that. But what happens if Oliveira wins? Then what? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think he's got a pretty good chance, and I'm picking him. I'm telling you straight up now. I'm picking the underdog in that one because I thought he was gonna win last time. He kind of just got caught, to be honest. He kind of just was like, I don't think he took Islam's grappling serious, like the submission threat part of it seriously. And he kind of just walked into the submission. Like if that happens, I don't think Islam could ever submit Oliveira ever again. I really don't think so. Cause I don't think he saw that one coming. I really don't. That's really what I learned from that one. Even bigger fight, honestly. Yeah. Even bigger fight with yeah. But I don't know what you would do with that though. You know what I mean? Like what happens with Oliveira that like because you wouldn't do Volkanovski and Islam if it's not for a belt, obviously. So would you then do Oliveira and Volkanovski? That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah. And that might actually be bigger. I think it would be bigger, to be honest, because I think you've got because then oh man, you would have Oliveira's insanely intense fan group. I mean, everybody loves Oliveira. So you got that fan group, Volkanovski's fan group. My God, I mean, yeah, there wouldn't be too much animosity there because they all love each other. I mean, we all love Oliveira, we all love Volkanovski, but you'd get some real hype in there. My God. Oh yeah. Oh, and that would be one hell of a fight. You can't tell me that's not a good fight. I would love that. Yeah, I mean UFC 300, Oliveira Volkanovski. God damn, that would be good. Either way, I mean, we're gonna get something good, I can tell. But yeah, I honestly though, I really do think I kind of already see what the UFC is trying to do. I really do think they're trying to do McGregor Chandler UFC 300. I really do think that that's what they're trying to do because like it's just been delayed over and over and over again, and it's interesting to me that nobody over there seems to be too worried about it and seems to be talking about it. You notice that? They always get asked the question. They always get asked, like, when are we doing this fight? When are we doing this fight? They never seem worried about it. They're never like, oh, fuck, like we're trying to make it happen and blah, 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 blah. They're never saying that. They have never gone in that direction. They're always like, yeah, we'll see. That's what they keep saying. They're like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when. That's a little suspicious to me. So either they know, they clearly know something. So either they know that this fight is never happening, or they know that that is going to be UFC 300, and they're probably going to expect Connor at some point, maybe December or something, to start beefing with Chandler again. You know, he'll probably start throwing stuff in there like, yeah, let's like, you know what Connor does. He starts throwing things in there, starts getting a little chippy online. I could see them starting to do that as we start to creep closer to UFC 300 because it doesn't it seem a little bit suspicious that they just don't even talk or answer about it. You know what I mean? Because normally that's something that they would be talking about a lot. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Anyway, my God, are we going on long? But there was a lot to talk about, to be fair. I mean, what a fucking crazy result that was. Anyway, oh yeah, so in terms of the bets, I mean, we got distracted from the bets here. My God. The parlays, they all lost because the A pick, Adesanya, obviously lost. And Jenkins, he was the C pick. And that unfortunate injury screwed me. I mean, holy. If it weren't for that, I would have been at least slightly okay. I would have been fine. I mean, maybe down to like 15 units down. That's probably what I would have been at instead. The parlays alone were 3.5 units down, 11 units on Adesanya. You can imagine where this is going. This is not going. You can zoom past the picks for the next card. No, we can't zoom past the picks. Actually, well, yeah, we'll go through them fairly quickly, I guess. Yeah, but I thought you meant just ignore the picks altogether. I was like, no, we can't do that. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Go through them quicker. But yeah, so Jenkins and Adesanya, that means that all the parlays are gone. Adesanya, that was 11 units down just because of that alone. We were already like 6 units down or more because of the card in general. So yeah, this was bad. Oh, I know. I ordered from White Spot this time. I've got the Louisiana chicken sandwich coming. Love it. And some onion rings. Love me a good onion ring. You can't have shitty onion rings, but a good onion ring, always good. Anyway, you're getting me hungry now. Oh, by the way, I forgot about another bet that I had. I don't think I've ever seen Adesanya not touch gloves. And when I saw that that was at plus money this time, that Adesanya, that they were going to touch gloves, it was a plus money. I was like, I truly don't think I've ever seen Adesanya not touch gloves. So I was like, oh, this is going to cash in for sure. Didn't touch gloves. And now, actually, as I'm saying it, I'm realizing, that actually is another dead giveaway that mentally, like psychologically, again, Strickland was in his head. He was in his head again because I really do think that might have been the only time ever that Adesanya has not touched gloves. I think. I could be wrong. Maybe he didn't touch Pereira's gloves for one of those two fights, but I know for sure he touches gloves all the other times, and I think he even touched Pereira's gloves one of those times, if not both of those times. So again, that was another unusual thing for him. Unusual, very unusual. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully you've enjoyed actually those psychological perspectives, because you really need to remember that nothing physically affects Izzy that much, but we've seen over the years it's all in his head, because that's how he's been as good as he is. He's that's what's brought him to this point, is his psychology, is his mind. So you got to think, if his mind is that strong to win these fights, if he gets too fucked up and too in his head, that could easily go the other way. Do more breakdown videos, the non-bet side, when you get more time. I thought it was pretty good anyway. Oh, thanks. Thank you. I mean, listen, again, I do have a degree in psychology, and I've always been really good at reading people psychologically. It's actually how I do some of these bets too, because I have won bets just because I know that person cannot psychologically recover from what happened to them before, and I've been right about that quite a few times. So I don't know. Maybe I could do something like that. I don't know how I would. I don't know. Maybe just the odd video here and there of like this one. Like maybe I could do uh a better, more scripted one of Adesanya. Maybe I could do that one time. That would be kind of interesting. Psychological perspective on some of these. Yeah, because people don't really do that too often. That's a good idea. Maybe I will do that eventually. That's not a bad idea. Put my degree to use, because it's not getting used anywhere else. But yeah, anyway, so those were all the bets here. Should I even say the total? Yeah, not every card, just big upsets or fights. Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't do it every card, yeah. But yeah, every big upsets or fights, yeah, I could see that. Because I could have even done one about Amanda Nunes, that she very clearly did not take Juliana Pena seriously at all. Like, that was pretty obvious. That would be another psychological one. Holy shit, man, my background is getting fucked up by the sun. My God. Oh, anyway, we really got to move on here. Up to the picks for the next card. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll jump right into it. See you after this.
Allow me to introduce High Stick Vodka, a new way to celebrate victory. Gather around the glass with an award-winning, ultra-premium Canadian-made vodka. You probably won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka has a smooth, hard-hitting taste, or that it's developed in the birthplace of hockey. You won't listen when I say High Stick Vodka is a tribute to the game of hockey, or when I tell you it's distilled 4 times using Canada's purest mountain spring water to provide an authentic, remarkable flavor. But maybe you will listen when I say it comes in a fucking hockey stick. Showcase your passion for hockey with our limited edition hand-blown hockey stick bottle. Whether you're celebrating victory or drinking to defeat, High Stick Vodka is better after every shot. Visit us at highstickvodka.com. It also comes in this regular bottle. Celebrate victory. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back. I'm struggling a little bit with the Bet99 site. For some reason, I don't know why it's like this, but they're not showing the money line straight up. Like, the first thing that shows up is the over under, and I'm trying to fix it so that I see the money line instead. They are not letting me do this. What a fucking terrible site. My God. There's definitely a part of me that really wants to not use this anymore, but oh man. Anyway, Fuck it. Maybe I'll just use Betway instead. Fuck it. If you can't get your site to work, I'm not going to use it. That's my philosophy. Also, the odds, now that I looked at them, they're way better on Betway anyway. Okay, anyway, enough shitting on this site, but seriously, this is ridiculous. Buy Hide Stick Vodka. I don't drink. I mean, like, listen, I don't want to shit all over anybody, especially the sponsor, but I will say here, and I'm just going to say, like, they did actually new owners of Area 51, really cool. Haven't talked to the new guy yet. He hasn't reached out either. Haven't heard a goddamn thing from him at all, actually. But yeah, so these are all their sponsors, and honestly, I haven't gotten paid by any of them or gotten anything from any of them. So I don't really feel like I owe anybody anything. Also, I'm a pretty honest guy anyway. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Bet99. They actually fucked me out of some money once too. I will openly say that. So, I mean, listen, eventually what I do want to do is just, I'll probably end up, I don't know if I would break out by myself and do it, and then I would get my own sponsors, probably Betway. But, yeah, I don't know. I like Area 51. I like the people, but I don't know. It's not being run that well right now. Anyway, don't want to shit all over everybody, but listen, I'm a pretty open guy. I will talk about literally anything at any given moment. I think I've made that pretty obvious. So I don't care about saying controversial things. Also, like I said, I'm not getting anything anyway. I would also only ever be by things that I use and I like anyway, because that's the kind of person I am. I don't know. But I have to play those ads, so don't really have a choice. Bet99 is great though. It has its moments. I like its I will say one thing about Bet99. They do have, I like their specials. They have very good specials. And they do have a decent amount of MMA on here too. They usually have Bellator. Actually, they have Bellator, EFC. So they've got some of the obscure ones. So I do like that. But yeah, some of the things are questionable. Anyway, enough making me look bad. Like I said, I mean, in the future, no, I won't make myself look bad or worse than I'm making myself look already to these people. Anyway, Josephine, is it Josephine? Knutson, Marnik, man, huge favorite in Knutson. I almost thought the odds went up as I was talking about it. It minus 550 right now on not Bet99. Funny enough, it's actually minus 800 on Bet99 because that was actually the one I clicked on just to see if I could find where the money line odds were. Minus 800. So, I mean, my God, that's a huge difference. Minus 800 on Bet99, minus 550 on Betway, guys. Now do you see why I don't use it as much? Yeah, so great price over there. Sorry. Yeah, so we got to lower those odds down. Marnik, man, actually, I don't know. I was going to say she might be one of the worst fighters I've ever seen on the Contender Series. I've seen some bad ones, so I don't know if I can say that, but she did really bad on there. Very small, terrible style for this. I mean, clearly Knutson is going to win. Can she get a finish, though? I think so. So I think to lower those odds, which would probably be substantial at this point, you got to go Knutson finish. I see on Bet99 the over-under is over 2.5 is plus 140. So they're definitely thinking she is going to get the finish. So I would balance it out with the over. Because we've also seen Knutson only has, I think, one finish in her entire career. All of the other ones are decisions. So that could very easily continue, even though I don't think Man is very good. So I would say to balance that out, Knutson finish, probably submission. And then, actually, no, I think it was KO. Maybe KO. I don't know. Knutson finish, and then balance that out with the over 2.5. Looks good to me. Next up, Charlie Campbell, Alex Reyes. I did not have the time to watch tape because, as as I messaged you actually about, I was actually even at my dad's. So this is kind of one of those weeks where when I'm at my dad's, those weeks don't really get the chance to watch the tape before I do these. I just look on Tapology and make my picks like that, which are still pretty accurate anyway. But I will be watching tape tonight to then, you know, really perfect it and really nail everything down exactly how I like. But I mean, I used to not watch tape at all, so it's not like I'm like gonna get everything wrong because I'm not watching tape. That'd be silly. Um, Campbell is a pretty heavy favorite. Yes, deservedly so. Alex Reyes, I believe, was he hasn't fought since it was something like 2021. Let me get this for you. Holy, look at all the cancellation. Look on Tapology and look at all the canceled fights for this card. My God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 9, I think. 9 cancellations on this card. That is unreal. But yeah, Charlie Campbell here. I remember him, Alex Reyes. Yeah, so Alex Reyes. Oh, fuck. One fight in the UFC. One fight. It was in 2017. 2017. And it was a first round knockout to Mike Perry. So I wonder why he's the huge I wonder why the other guy's the huge favorite. Yeah. Listen, again, I haven't watched the tape, so maybe he was really good. I don't know. But is there even a point in watching tape from 2017? I don't think he's going to be the same. I do not think he's going to be the same. But again, if you get knocked out in the first round by Mike Perry, I understand Perry. I mean, he's a fucking lunatic, obviously. He's the king of bare knuckle FC. So he's a lunatic. But yeah, Reyes is 36. That was his last fight. Lost in a minute and 20 seconds. That was his only UFC fight. And Charlie Campbell absolutely, well, he was beating Chris Duncan. I don't know if you saw this Contender Series fight. It was one of the craziest ones I've ever seen, actually. Even though it was only a minute and 43 seconds long, one of the craziest Contender Series fights I've ever seen. They just traded as hard as they could, back and forth. And this guy, now I forget his name, Charlie Campbell, he basically got a knockout, and then the other guy gets up, they trade. We think Campbell's going to get the knockout because he basically already knocked him out once. And then out of nowhere, Duncan gets the KO on Charlie Campbell and wins that fight. But up until he got knocked out, Charlie Campbell looked incredible, landing bombs, super powerful, clearly has the power. Clearly has the technique too. I mean, he just traded and got caught. Really, that's what happened there. I'm pretty confident he's going to get the job done. Also, he's 28, so he's a lot younger, has a little bit extra reach. The only thing that worries me a little bit is he's always been at lightweight, and Reyes was fighting at welterweight when he was in the UFC. I don't know if that makes a huge difference because this is also at lightweight. So I don't know if you can really take anything from that. Again, it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago. He hasn't fought since then. I don't know how you could ever take somebody that hasn't fought in 6 years, especially when that last fight was a loss in a minute and a half. So yeah, I'm going. That's just a long-winded way of saying I'm going Charlie Campbell KO. Charlie Campbell round 1. Either way, Charlie Campbell. Does he have any submissions on here? He was in a grappling tournament. Charlie Campbell. Doesn't have any submissions though. Oh, has one in his career. So yeah, definitely more of a knockout guy. And I know he has the power because we saw it on the Contender Series. Reyes got knocked out. Yeah. And actually, Reyes has arm triangles, rear naked chokes. So he's definitely more of a grappler. So yeah, seems to me like he's going to get knocked out in the first round. because he's going to go for takedowns and get fucked up. That's what I see coming. So, looks good to me. Next up, Tracy Cortez. Love Tracy Cortez. How do you not love Tracy Cortez? My God. I don't know if she's still going out with Ortega, but as one lucky motherfucker right there. I mean, come on. Going against Jasmine Jasdavicius, who I've also become a fan of. I gotta say, I mean, when you carry the Canadians in Vancouver like that and somehow get the win over Miranda Maverick by grappling like that, I like you. She's also got a great personality too. She's super funny. I liked her interviews on Helwani. She's funny. But yeah, that's goddamn. And I got it, but I mean, yeah, you got to go with Cortez on this. I'm sorry. I really just think that Jasdavicius, I'm not trying to be too critical on Jasmine because I am a fan now, but you got to imagine that she really tried extra hard because it was in basing the picks on skill this time. Do we ever pick women's fights based on skill? No, JK. But yeah, no, I'm still going Tracy Cortez either way, even though, yes, I'm in love with Tracy Cortez. But no, I mean, even skill wise, to me, it's Tracy Cortez is so well rounded. I mean, ever since she started, people have been kind of thinking she could easily be a champion someday. She really could. She is so good, super well rounded. But it's the striking. It's the striking for me. Jasmine isn't necessarily the greatest striker. Cortez, very good at striking. So I think that's going to be a huge problem. And we know that Cortez can grapple. So I think she'll be able to, manage the grappling of Jasmine. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to shut down. Jasmine might win a round or two with the grappling, but I think the striking just makes all the difference. Cortez is just too good. You do think Jasmine's going to win? Yeah, I see what you're saying though, and I think it's because of the grappling. At least in my opinion, that's what it is for me, because Jasmine is big and she's a good grappler. But the problem with Jasmine is she's not a finisher. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to finish Tracy Cortez. So can she keep up with the pace of Cortez and get that done over the 3 rounds? I don't know. But I do see why it's so evenly matched. I mean, the odds are dead even. They were anyway. Yeah, they're still pretty much even. Minus 120 for Tracy Cortez, minus 105 for Jasdavicius. Honestly, I actually think they nailed that. I think they nailed that betting line. I think that's exactly what it should be. Yeah, so I mean, if you want to go the underdog, totally understand. I'm going to go oh yeah, the bet that I went for with this one, I am going to cut this one out. I am only going to do one bet for the matchup because I don't think we're going to see a finish either way. That's basically what I'm getting at. So to then make the bet, you got to bring the odds down so that, it's in plus money. So I think really the only bet you can make would be either Jasmine decision or Cortez decision. Because I'm going Cortez, I'm going Cortez decision, which brings us to plus money. There we go. The less fighters look like Cyborg, the less I trust the female fighter. No shade. That's a solid point. And that, even though it's obviously a joke, it's not even obviously a joke. That is actually very true. And actually a very good way of doing a lot of these things that I'm not even kidding. Especially the women's fights. No joke. That is actually a very good way of doing picks, because if they're big and scary looking like Cyborg, they tend to do really well. No joke. They really do. And I think maybe it's a mental thing, but it's probably just the fact that they are usually like, like Amanda Nunes, where it's like, bruh, I don't want to be anywhere near that person. Like, they're scary. They're scary. Yeah. I don't think either one of these is like that, but Jasmine's bigger. That's for sure. Which is what I was getting at about the side. Is the size. My God, I'm losing it. Where are my onion rings? Anyway, yeah, so I'm going with Cortez, but yeah, I could see either way. I wouldn't be surprised, is what I'm saying, if Jasmine wins. Um, I gotta say, this next one is a little bit dicey. It is Edgar Chairez and then Daniel Lacerda, one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC, but he also doesn't have a win. Um, so my pick might surprise you, but it's for a good reason, because if you watch Daniel Lacerda's fights, you'd see why he's still there even after losing 4 in a row. Because in all 4 of those fights, he was winning at one point and he was almost getting a finish at one point in all of those fights. And then he somehow, each of those times, somehow the fight turns around and he gets finished. It's the craziest thing to watch, because every single time I've been like, oh, this is it. He's going to get the win. He's finally going to get the win. And then he gets finished out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, fuck. So there's a very good chance this could happen again. And I think I'm probably going to go with Chairez on the Tapology pick, just because I think that's probably safer. But I got to say, this is definitely the best matchup that Lacerda has had so far. So if there was ever one that he was finally going to win, I think this is one he can finally win. I really do. Because he is very dangerous. Chairez also, I think he tends to get submissions from what I remember. Let's see here. And Lacerda does train with, Shoot to Boxa with, oh, actually, no. Did he switch? Oh, I thought he was, maybe he switched gyms. Huh. I thought he was at Diego Lima before with Oliveira and all them. Maybe he's not anymore. But anyway, yeah. He's pretty good on the ground and on the feet, but he's been knocked out 3 of those times. Chairez, not a knockout guy. Not a knockout guy at all. He is more of a submission kind of guy from what I saw. Guillotines, arm bars, rear naked chokes, arm bar. Yeah. So definitely more of, I wouldn't blame him for switching. Why would you switch? Diego Lima is the best. Actually, they even said that on the. Actually, I think Ariel was saying that was the best gym. I kind of agree, though. Oh no, it wasn't Ariel. It was on. I think it was Cormier who said that at the during the weigh-ins or something. I don't know who has the best gym. Could be Diego Lima. I wouldn't be surprised. Because Eugene City Kickboxing is pretty incredible. But the fact that I don't know if I could really hold that against them this weekend. That they lost and they went 3-3 actually, or was it 2-2? But still, I mean, the Diego Lima fighters are fucking animals. I don't know. I'm just getting so fucking thrown out. I'm hungry, so I need to skip ahead here. I'm losing it. What am I saying here? Chairez. So yeah, oh yeah, the odds. Fuck, I'm forgetting to go to the odds. My God, I'm really losing it. Minus 250 for Chairez, plus 200 for Lacerda. I got to throw a little bit on Lacerda because he's really dangerous. Again, you see the 0-4 record for the last 4. Obviously, you start running towards the other guy, but this really is an underdog where it's like, okay, he's always got a shot. He can really get that done. And the other guy's been finished a couple times. Just saying. So I'm 100 plus 200 on Lacerda. I'm going for it. And let's see if Bet99 can give me the over-under. That's kind of what I've been doing. I've been doing the money line on one site and the over-under on the other site. What do we got? Oh, they don't have it. What a shock. Don't even have it anyway. Fuck. I guess we're moving on then. Roman Kopylov, Joshua Fremd. Now that is a one-sided one. Fremd not necessarily that great. Roman Kopylov, pretty good striker. Pretty good striker. I'm seeing a finish in here. Fremd is pretty durable, so I could decision, but yeah, a knockout seems pretty likely, and he's definitely not getting a sub. Never gets submissions. Kopylov, so I'm going KO. I'm gonna lower the odds with Roman Kopylov by KO. That should be plus money, or at least minus 110 or something like that. It'll be pretty close. So love that. And we'll balance that out with fucking hell, this goddamn site. The names are cut off, so I couldn't really tell who is who here. Like I said, this is brutal. Um, oh, it's over under 1.5. Under 1.5 is plus 130. I mean, I'd actually more likely go for over 2.5, I think. Yeah. I think I got to go for over 2.5 to balance it out because Fremd is pretty durable and Kopylov never gets early knockouts. They're always second or third round. So to me, if you're super durable, you might not get knocked out in those later rounds. You might just make it to the decision. So I think the over is probably the way to go with that. And then, like I said, Kopylov KO is the other bet. That's how we would split that up because we're not doing what we did last week. I can tell you that. Then we've got Loopy Godinez from Langley. Langley, I could get there in half an hour. She's right here. I'd love to meet some of these people sometimes. I really would. Because they're so close. Some of these people really are super close to me. Like they're very, very close. And Kyle Machado, he just won on the Contender Series. He's right there too. Vancouver, fighting downtown. He practices downtown. Anyway, Loopy Godinez, Elise Reed. I mean, Elise Reed has been knocked out a couple of times. She's been submitted a couple of times. I would say this is a pretty good chance for, oh, I know. I'm sure I will too. Yeah, I just need to get out more and then I'm sure I'll run into some of these people and they'll definitely know who I am eventually. I mean, as soon as I get this game out and the betting and everything, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've even talked to a couple of them already, just not in person. Yeah. Anyway, Loopy Godinez, minus 450. So we got to lower those odds and we're going for a finish because she gets a lot of decisions. So I'm imagining that they're going hard on the over, and I'm looking at bet 99 for the over under. It's at minus 210 for over 2.5. I think we're going to see a finish here. I do, because Elise Reed has been, like I said, she's been finished a couple of times, and she's actually been finished by Loma Lookboonmee, who Loopy actually beat. So if Loopy has a win over Loma Lookboonmee and Elise Reed was finished by Loma Lookboonmee, maybe there's a finish there. Maybe there's a finish. And you got the Mexican Independence Day card, Noche UFC. Maybe Loopy goes hard for a finish. She's crazy, by the way. I mean, she's intense. I mean, she loves to fight. So I could see it. She took the 10-day turnaround. I mean, for fuck's sake, she clearly likes to fight. So yeah, maybe we'll see Loopy Godinez get a finish. I think so. And how do we balance that one out? Oof. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just go Loopy finish. Or I guess we could just go Loopy decision and then under 2.5. Depends, I guess, where the odds are at. So that would be something, I guess, I got to figure out with the odds. We'll see. Actually, I just realized another problem. Oh, actually, no, never mind. That doesn't affect it. I was going to say a problem actually with making the bets and then the posts this early, like on Thursdays, is even on Thursdays, not necessarily even today, they don't necessarily have the odds for all the bets. They definitely don't always have it for round one or like a specific or like even by KO. They don't normally have those odds until Friday. So that could actually be a problem. I just kind of thought of that. Hmm. For a later time. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Fernando Padilla. Oh yeah, Fernando Padilla, Kyle Nelson. I was like, who the hell is Fernando Padilla? um I don't remember who Fernando Padilla is, but I remember looking at this and thinking, yeah. Yeah, I still don't recognize the name. But he knocked out Julian Erosa in a minute and a half in his UFC debut. Kyle Nelson has been knocked out a few times. He hasn't really looked like anything all that special, Kyle Nelson. So I'm imagining that he's going to get a finish. So I'm going Padilla by finish, I think. And I'm sure that the over. Oh, really? That's interesting. The over 2.5 is at plus 140. So I'm taking that. You want to know why? Because Kyle Nelson has been in so many decisions. He is very tough. He is a very tough dude. Not necessarily the most dangerous, but he can take a beating. So I would not be surprised if this went all the way to a decision. So I think that's actually a perfect way of balancing this out. Padilla finish, balance it out with the over 2.5, just in case Kyle Nelson gets that decision win, because he's definitely not getting a finish win. I can tell you that. So I like that one. That's a really good matchup. That's promising. Moving on. Moving on. Where are we at here? I'm lost. I'm lost. Where am I? Zellhuber and Christos Giagos. I mean, you can kind of tell what they're doing here. They want Zellhuber as a Mexican to get a win. So they're throwing in somebody that is kind of on their way out. Yeah. So that's exactly what's happening. They used to think that Zellhuber was a finishing machine. Turns out that's not true because he's been in 3 decisions in a row now. So I don't think he'll be able to get the finish. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll really turn it on once again, like I said earlier about Loopy. For Noche UFC, maybe he wants to get a finish. But I don't know, because Giagos, I believe, is also pretty tough from what I remember. He was finished by Sarukian and Moises. So 2 pretty fair finishes. All the other ones are decisions. So I'm kind of seeing the decision, kind of seeing it. And they don't have that. What a surprise. They do not have that on the site either. But I do have the money line, I guess. So what are we at here? Minus 275 for Zellhuber, plus 210 for Giagos. Got to bring that down, of course. I guess we got to go with Zellhuber decision. I mean, I can't tell again because I don't have the over-under yet. So I can't really tell what I'm going to bet, but I would imagine that they're favoring the under if I had to guess. I would think, because Giagos finished a couple of times. Zellhuber has had some KOs. I'm imagining that's the way that the odds makers are going to lean, but as of right now, I do not know. So I'm then guessing that probably the way to go would be Zellhuber finish and then bet the over. That's probably how it's going to be. But again, can't really tell you until they post those odds. Then we have the biggest favorite of the night so far, Raul Rosas Jr., the Phenom, 18-year-old Phenom against Terrence Mitchell. I mean, good Lord. So that's obviously going to be a win for Raul Rosas Jr. But I'll tell you where I'm going to go with this, because I don't think... Never realized how badly all the bets rely on time. Yeah. And I got to say, I didn't really realize that too much at first either, because I just assumed bets don't really change the odds too much over time. I also didn't really realize they don't put bets in, they don't put the odds down weeks in advance like I thought they would, or like even a week in advance. They really just put money lines down. Most of these sites, they only put the money lines down. Sometimes the over unders are put down right away too. Usually it's just money line though. And then some sites go more specific, and that's usually Thursday, Friday. Depends. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I can't even make the bets until like Friday, which is why I was a little worried actually. And then when I thought about it more about doing a lot of stuff like this, because it's a little bit harder when the sites don't put their odds up. And then of course it also relies on time because you want to get them in early, because if you don't, then they go out of control. I mean, like we even said on this one site, I mean, on one site, Knutson is minus 800. On the other, she's minus 550. So you kind of got to get it lower earlier in the week as well. So yeah, all timing for sure. All switches. But yeah, I'm actually going to go with something a little different here. And it's exactly what I did with Bo Nickel. And by the way, actually, that is a perfect example of psychology that I use to win a bet, because I think I said it on the air too, but this is why I made the bet with Bo Nickel KO. I said he has the striking to do it. We knew that, but he's only been using his submissions in the UFC. So we only ever saw him use his grappling. But I know that somebody like Bo Nickel is the kind of guy that wants to be like, you know what? I'll show them I can also strike. I haven't had the chance to strike yet, so I'm going to strike. And I knew he was capable of getting a KO. So I knew the psychology of Bo Nickel. He's going to go for a KO this time. And what did he do? The first fucking thing he did, just, fucking uses everything he's ever learned in striking. Psychology. That one I fucking nailed. Also with Chimaev a little bit too. I saw that. Oh, with Holland too. People were like, "Oh, Chimaev's not as good as you think." Like blah 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 blah. And I was like, "No, I don't think you realize what he was doing against Burns. Like he wanted to strike. His coaches told him not to, and he struck on purpose. That's who he is. That is who Chimaev is. He's a fucking lunatic." So as soon as I saw he was going against Holland and he didn't like Holland and he wanted to prove, listen, fuck, I don't care if I missed weight. I'm going to buzz straight through this guy. I was like, first round submission. No chance. No chance it's anything else. First round submission, because that is who Chimaev is. He is going to embarrass Kevin Holland so bad. And he did. He almost retired Kevin Holland. He embarrassed him so bad. Psychology. It works sometimes. Not all the bets, but when you know enough about a person like Chimaev, Bo Nickel, Adesanya, when you know a lot about the way that they think, you can really get into some pretty good bets there. And yes, I did in all of those scenarios. So this could be one of those times. I think Raul Rosas Jr. wants to show off his boxing. I do. And I'll tell you why. Because Mitchell has submissions on the ground. He's really good on the ground. We've seen that actually in his fights. He's good at defending on the ground, very good at all that. So what I think he's going to do, because Raul Rosas Jr. sees that he just got knocked out, Terrence Mitchell, that he's been knocked out twice in the first round now. People have been talking negatively about Rosas' striking. I think he's going to try and prove everybody wrong. I think he's going for a KO. Will he end up with the KO in this case? I don't know. He might just think, nah, I went for the KO, didn't get it. I'll just sub him on the ground. He might do that. But I really do think, I really, really, really do think there that the psychology might help me out here. I really do think he's going to go for the KO. So with minus 800, got to take a risk. Got to go on something a little bit crazy, a little bit on the edge. That's why I'm going Raul Rosas Jr. KO. Not finish, not sub. KO. Because that is guaranteed to be plus money. And he's going to get a KO eventually in his career. He's going to get it eventually. Why not right now? Why not prove it against somebody who's been knocked out twice in the first round? by the only UFC people he's ever fought. Why not do that? Right? And we know that Rosas Jr. also grew up boxing. He might be insanely good on the ground. He grew up boxing. That is what his dad did. So, what better time? What better time to prove it than this weekend, right now, in front of everybody? Noche UFC, get the first KO. See? Just saying. If it cashes in, you gotta give me the credit for being an absolute fucking genius. If it cashes in. If not, I tried. Or at least, at the very least, if he comes out there swinging, going for the striking more than anything, at least if you do that, think of me saying that he wanted to prove that he has striking. Anyway, Kevin Holland, JDM. This one, I gotta say, I wasn't really sure about because it does seem pretty close to me. And I'm actually a little surprised by the odds on Betway now that I'm looking at it, because I think Kevin Holland was actually the favorite. I think he was actually the favorite a couple of days ago, but he's not now. So you might want to, I don't know, take advantage of some odds in there. There's a strategy in there somewhere. Kevin Holland plus 120, JDM minus 150. I'm torn on this one. I really am. And it's only because of what I saw. I agree. I do think it's going to be a decision. And I do think it could very well get dicey because JDM fights really close. Holland fights really close. I do think that's going to be an interesting one. I really want to see this. The only reason I'm going with JDM is because of what I saw against Wonderboy, which is, I mean, well, actually, no, I don't know. Well, he's definitely not going to get a knockout, which is why I'm going decision. I totally agree with you there. I don't think either one of them is going to get a knockout, or a sub for that matter. But oh man, now I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so hungry. I can't even think straight now. Oh yeah, right. The Wonder Boy one. I mean, that convinced me that he's definitely not as good of a striker as we think he is. Although that being said, Wonder Boy is Wonder Boy, so maybe we can't extrapolate that from that fight. He did crack Wonder Boy though. He almost knocked him out. Oh man. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. There was one thing I was gonna say. I do remember now. What the reason I went with JDM is because the only time we've ever seen him struggle is with Basil Hafez. And that was because of his grappling. That had nothing to do, well, a little bit to do with the striking. I mean, Basil was landing some pretty heavy shots as well, but it was the grappling that made JDM look like he wasn't so good. The striking has never really been a question. Like, we've always known JDM can bang, he can strike with anybody. And I mean, I think we kind of know Holland maybe doesn't have the grappling. He maybe doesn't have the grappling to throw JDM off. So, I mean, if JDM throws in a little bit of grappling, he uses his quick striking, I really think that JDM has a much better chance. Because I don't think that, I mean, if Basil Hafez can't knock out JDM, well, actually, am I mixing things up here? Because now I do get mixed up, I will admit, between JDM and the guy that fought this past weekend. Who's the guy again? He looks very similar too. Because he's got the fucked up nose and that very Australian face. Who am I thinking of that just fought? He literally just fought this week. I need to look at the results now. Who am I talking? Malarkey, yeah. I do mix those two up sometimes. Oh, yeah, right, he didn't lose, that's right. Right. I was thinking about Malarkey, okay. So, for some of that, I mean, I knew Basil Hafez was the one that he had a problem with, JDM had a problem with, but yeah. For some reason, I thought JDM lost one in there, but he didn't. It was Malarkey that was losing. Um, anyway, all of my points still remain exactly the same. The striking of JDM has not ever really come into question at all. So I think that's going to be pretty close. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, but then the grappling, he did struggle with Basil Hafez, but Hafez is really good, which we haven't obviously has not been proven yet because Hafez hasn't fought since, but he's very good. When I saw the research too, the only reason I was still convinced that JDM was still going to win over Hafez anyway is because he's incredible. Like JDM is just really good. That's the only reason I was like, yeah, Hafez won't win this. But I was very impressed when I was watching it, and I was a little bit worried when I saw him because he did look very good even on tape. And then of course we saw in the fight too. He's very good. And I don't know if Kevin Holland can do that. Yeah. But yes, they are very similar. Malarkey and JDM are also they fight very similar as well. It's just that JDM is obviously way better. Not even close. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Maybe this is one that I might be changing because again, I didn't watch the tape, so maybe I will actually be changing my mind to Kevin Holland. But I don't know. I might struggle with the weight again. I don't think so. No, because you got to remember too. That was only a problem because he was supposed to fight the week before. And they made him, that whole thing, that whole rescheduling. Hafez was a late guy. He was supposed to fight the week before, last minute opponent. I mean, he was supposed to. So I mean, that whole everything. That's why I'm struggling to even take that fight as seriously as it should be taken because of all those things that went on behind the scenes of JDM supposed to be fighting in the pay-per-view the week before that. Then he has to stay extra long. And then the whole weight thing. I still might mess with the system. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, which is why I'm so close on this one. But like I said, I definitely might be changing my mind about this if I watch the tape with Kevin Holland and JDM. But I don't know. I still think I'm going to land on the JDM side because I don't know if you've had this too. Kevin Holland, he kind of worries me here and there. I don't know if you've had that too. Do you know what I mean? Where he's like, sometimes he's like, wow, like this guy's so good. He's so good. He's knocking this guy out. He's dominating this guy. Or even the Wonder Boy fight, I was like, wow, he's really good. He's really, really good. Like he has very, like, I would say similar striking level to Wonder Boy. It was really close for a while there. But then sometimes he has fights and it's like, is this the same guy? Like, is he that good? Like, what were we just hyping him up too much? Because like he doesn't seem that good. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that, but I continuously think that about Kevin Holland, where it's like, I thought he was better than this. Like, he has a weird result in a fight, and I'm like, he should be better than that. Yeah, he looks great when he needs a win, and then at point of leveling up, he falls back. Yeah. That's why I'm worried about this. That's why I'm so worried about picking Kevin Holland in this because JDM seems like the kind of guy that's like, and maybe this is a psychology thing again, because JDM is the kind of guy that's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm trying to be in the top 10, the top 5. I'm trying to win a belt. I don't care who I'm fighting. I'm going to, like I'm winning. I don't care. I will do anything I can to win. Whereas Kevin Holland is like, I just want to knock guys out, you know? That's kind of the attitude I'm getting is like, I want to knock guys out. If I lose, I tried my best. Because you know what I mean? Like, that seems to be his approach. It's never like the title or nothing. Like, I'm going for the title or nothing. That's not really what Kevin Holland is doing. He actually even says, I might go back up to middleweight. Like, what? Why would you go back up to middleweight? He's talked about that constantly. That worries me when people talk about stuff like that because it's like you're not committing. There's no commitment there. JDM is committed. JDM wants that fucking belt. He wants to win, 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 get the belt. Kevin Holland is like, get me that money. I want fun fights. I want to knock people out. That's it. Yeah. Exactly. And he doesn't have to get paid well. 100%. And that's what happens when you're an exciting guy. You'll go, well, I mean, fuck, like look at Patty. Jesus Christ. I mean, he's he's paid a ridiculous amount of money and he's not even fucking good. Like, I mean, he's good, but you know what I mean? Like, he lost that fight. We all know he lost that fight. And it's the same thing. It's like Holland, he's good, he's exciting, but is he ever going to be top 10, top 5 and reasonably make that push? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not saying no, but it doesn't seem like he's committed to do that. Yeah. And again, maybe that is a psychology thing. So again, maybe I'm using psychology right here to pick JDM. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going JDM for sure because of that now. Yeah. Moving on. What's next after that? I'm losing it again. Oh my god, I'm not even looking at the right fucking page. Where are we here? Oh, now it's the main event. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the co-main or not. Grasso Shevchenko. This one, I really just had to rewatch the last fight again because I don't think that anything else is relevant, to be honest, because we know everything there is to know about Shevchenko. We know she can do everything. We know she has the mindset, the everything. You know, we know all that about her. And we know what Grasso can do when faced with Shevchenko because we saw that in the last fight. I gotta say, I actually agree with you. I'm going Grasso as well. Even though she's the underdog. I believe she's the underdog anyway. I mean, I would think. Yep. Yeah, she's the underdog. It's very close though. Oh, actually, I should probably get into the odds. The over under. Fuck, we didn't do the over under with JDM and Holland. I think they're both really tough. I'm gonna say decision for Kevin Holland, JDM. So we're gonna go over 2.5 for that one, which is at plus 110, by the way. So if you don't think either one of them is gonna get finished, which I don't, because they're both insanely tough, I think so. I'm liking that plus 110 at over 2.5. And then, like I said, JDM at minus 150. I like money line on that one. I don't know if I want to get too crazy with that. Grasso round 2 finish. I gotta say, I don't know if I see a finish. I don't know if I see that. But I'll tell you why I'm picking, because this was the one fight where I watched the tape because that was what I had time for. Because all I had to do was watch, 4 rounds. That's not that doesn't take that long. So I did have time to rewatch that yesterday, and there were things that really pushed me towards Grasso. And when I say it, you'll probably, if you looked back, if you watch the fight again, you'll see what I mean. Grasso was able to actually kind of shut down everything Shevchenko had after a while. Because the striking, Shevchenko realized pretty quickly, oh shit, she can box. Because Grasso, she didn't get a knockdown or anything. It wasn't anything crazy, but she did hit her hard a couple of times. There were a couple of times where the booth was like, whoa, when Grasso landed a couple of shots. And it was like, oh shit, like she really hit Valentina there. Like, she hit her hard. So there's the striking. I do think she has the advantage in the boxing. I mean, yes, Valentina has the kicks and everything else, but I think and I think you could agree with this, I don't think Shevchenko really wants to strike this time. I think she's gonna kinda grapple. I honestly think she's gonna try and grapple a little bit more. Um, but the problem with that was she was getting all of the takedowns for a couple of rounds, Shevchenko was. She was getting all of them for a while. Like, the timing was unbelievable. She was really getting those takedowns. But yeah, after that, in the 3rd round and even part of the 2nd round, she was shutting the takedowns down. Grasso was. Grasso was shutting down Valentina's takedowns and then doing her own offense. So it was like, oh, she was able to shut this down even when Shevchenko's like still, feeling pretty good. Like, there's no cardio issues or anything for Shevchenko that early. Like, no. Um, oh fuck, I'm losing it again. I'm so hungry. Um, what was I saying? Oh man, the grappling. But yeah, that worried me because it's like it's different when they can continuously get takedowns throughout the fight, and then the 5th round or whatever, oh, the other person gets so tired they can't really get the takedowns anymore. That's not really what was happening with Valentina and Grasso here. Valentina wasn't necessarily slowing down that much. Grasso was just able to shut the takedowns down because she noticed what Valentina was doing and was able to stop it. So that tells me she's going to have a hell of a time taking Grasso down now because she already fought her. So she knows a lot of the moves and a lot of the takedowns that Valentina was using the first time that she was already able to shut down. So with Grasso already knowing I can shut down Valentina's takedowns and I can outstrike her with the boxing, I think it's going to be pretty tough. I think it's going to be pretty tough for Valentina to kind of overcome that now because if you can't go with the boxing or the striking, and then Grasso is able to shut down those takedowns again, where do you go? Like, what can you do at that point other than get a finish? So that's why I really do think Grasso can get a decision win. I do. I think she can get a decision win. Also, I think, too, what was I going to say? Fuck. Got an email or something. My thing made a bunch of noise. Scared the shit out of me. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. Because, like I said, and it also comes down to the coaching too, by the way. That was the other thing that I was thinking too, is Grasso's coaching. She is clearly very, very good at training, like she's very educated, the fight IQ, everything. Because as soon as you saw that, that's how she won. She spun and was practicing that so much that she just grabbed the back immediately and got the sub. That's training. That is, well, also fight IQ, but training, coaching, that's all that. So to me, I really do think that Grasso's training and coaching, they'll be able to coach her pretty well to now shut down the rest of the things that Valentina was using because really Valentina was only using grappling to win that fight. After a while, she wasn't striking well anymore. She was just grappling, which is what I said. And that's, like I said, then of course Grasso shut the takedowns down. So now, like I'm saying, with all the training, she's got the tape. She fought her once already. She knows how to shut those takedowns down. I like it. I think she can do it. I think she'll know how to shut down all that offense. I really do. And you got to imagine everybody's run comes to an end. Everybody's got to get to that point. We possibly have just seen it with Adesanya. We saw it with Usman. Who else did we see it with recently? But yeah, and we now truly might be seeing it with Valentina. Maybe she really just can't overcome somebody like Grasso with the boxing style and then shutting down the takedowns. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, you're right about that custom belt because Yair got, I mean, it's not like Yair was going to win that fight anyway, but still, yeah. I mean, he's the only one other person who's had the custom belt. So it could be bad luck. I think that was more of a Volkanovski thing, though, obviously, in the other case. Of course, this could be a Valentina thing. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think that I think Grasso can do it. I really do. And she's got the crowd on her side. She's got the momentum. She won the last one. Maybe Valentina gets reckless trying to get that, you know? I mean, that's not out of the question because she can get pretty aggressive. She can get pretty crazy if she wants to. She doesn't usually, but she's capable of it. So could make another mistake, get finished again. Who knows? Anything's on the table for this one. All I'm saying is I got to go with the underdog, especially since she won the last one. You got to go with the underdog. So that's plus 140 for Alexa Grasso. And then over under you got to go under 4.5 because the over is actually favored right now minus 140. We just saw a finish. Again, like I said, maybe Valentina gets more aggressive, and maybe that leads to her getting finished, but it also might lead to her getting a finish. We don't know. Shevchenko's an animal. I mean, she's a legend. She could get a finish. We never know. And she was actually, by the way, on Grasso's back a couple of times too in that fight too. So maybe she gets a submission. That's not out of the question either. So I'm going for the under. I think that's a no-brainer. Plus 110. Yeah, I think there's two pretty clear bets to make for this matchup. You got to go with the champ, the underdog, and the under 4.5, both at plus money. Beautiful. And that would be it. Oh yeah, the parlays. I did not get a chance to do the parlays at all, so I guess you'll just have to wait for the posts on that one. Because yeah, I did not get a chance to do that. I'll quickly run through though, and you know, because I know at least who I'm going to pick. I might not necessarily know the order, but yeah, I know who I'm going to pick though. What about the sniper pick? Honestly, I don't feel comfortable picking the sniper pick until I watch the tape, because with those ones, there's a reason why I've only ever gotten one wrong in the UFC, and that was Adesanya. It's the only one I've ever gotten wrong because I not only am 100% sure on paper that they're going to win, I am also very confident by watching tape. That is how I make those picks, is that I am like 95% confident on paper and on tape. That's why sometimes I don't even pick the biggest favorite, because the biggest favorite might not actually be the person who deserves to be the biggest favorite. But yeah, so I'll hold off on the sniper pick for now. But yeah, we'll go with a few here. So Knudsen, I think that's pretty clear. You got to go with her over Marnik, man. I mean, man, I didn't really see a whole lot of anything from her at all on the Contender Series. -6 or -550. Charlie Campbell, I think you got to go as well. I mean, huge favorite. Also, opponent hasn't fought since 2017. That looks pretty good for a parlay. Obviously, staying away from Cortez and Jasudavicius, staying away from. I can't include Edgar Chairez because Daniel Lacerda is too much of a loose cannon. Kopilov, that's a good option. That could be somebody that I do for sniper pick because he's very reliable. That is also the other thing. They have to be a reliable person for me to pick them for that. I can't choose somebody that's, you know, that sometimes they smoke somebody and sometimes they're getting knocked the fuck out. Like McKinney. McKinney is the worst person you could possibly choose for a sniper pick because you never know how he's going to come in. He's either going to just annihilate a guy or he's going to get finished. There's no in between. Dober, actually, I learned that the hard way with Dober. Anyway, moving on. Oh, yeah, Kopilov. Godinez, I think she's pretty clearly going to win. Padilla, I would probably stay away a little bit from because Kyle Nelson has a bad habit of being in these split decisions or draws even. So I'm not a huge fan of that, especially since we've only seen Padilla fight once. Not a huge fan of that. Zellhuber, I don't know if I'd include him or not either. He's a little bit iffy. He doesn't necessarily lose, but he's not as good as everybody thought he was, which worries me a little bit. But maybe lower on the rung there. Maybe like an F or an E for Zellhuber. Rosas Jr., I mean, fucking hell. He's going to win for sure. And then obviously stay away from Holland. Well, the co-main event and the main event for sure. So I think that actually does end up being 6. So that works out pretty well. Let's see. Knutson, Campbell, Kopilov, Godinez, Zellhuber, Rosas Jr. Yeah, that's 6. Okay, there you go. That's the 6. Just haven't figured out the order yet. That's okay, though. But yeah, they will all be on Instagram soon with our new posts, which I'm very excited about. Very excited. Thank you for the help with that. I really am excited about that. And everything else that we're going to make eventually. Because, yeah, then we got to do, like I said, we got to do the recap ones. I'll probably, like I said, do some sniper picks. The other sniper picks that I do. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's just win. Honestly, I feel good about it. Like I said, I've only ever gotten one wrong, and that was Adesanya. So that was still shocking. I'm still shocked. So I feel pretty good about it. I will say, I don't know. I might be leaning towards Kopilov. Maybe. Yeah. It's probably going to be Kopilov. It's probably going to be Kopilov because he's the only one on here that to me is like rock solid in terms of reliability. Yeah. Anyway, that is it for me. Hopefully that is the worst week that we ever have because that was brutal. I feel good about this week though. I really, really do. I mean, the matchups are looking good. There's a lot of huge favorites. That tends to mean that we can do well with the prop bets. That also usually means we can do really well with the parlays. So I've got a good feeling. I mean, parlays going good. Maybe get some of the like a KO prop bet in there here and there, or decision. Anything. I don't know. It's looking pretty good though. I feel good. Maybe a couple underdogs in there. Maybe Grasso the underdog. But yeah, I'm hungry. Gonna have my chicken burger, my onion rings, and that'll be it. Oh, and then of course, yeah, I got to work on the stuff to give to you, so you can make the posts. But yeah, looking forward to it. Got a great card next week. That's Fiziev and Gamrot, for fuck's sake. My God, I cannot wait to watch that fight. Yeah, excited for that. That's it. So yeah. Oh yeah, Area 51, that's all below. Like I said, new ownership. I think everybody else is still around. It's all swirling around. I don't know. It was actually a few weeks ago that they switched it, but I guess nothing really has changed since then, since I didn't even notice. But yeah, they've got all the other sports. They're good too. I've got all the MMA stuff. All my socials are below. We're going to be posting, as I mentioned, more on Twitter and X, I should say. We're going to be posting more on X and Instagram with the bets. Hopefully some recaps in there as well. Ow. And yeah, we shall see what happens. Yes. I will. Oh yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see ya next time, and hopefully have a better outro next time. I really do struggle with these quite a bit. See ya.